Okay, today is Thursday, January 7th. This is a continuation of the 4 lesson, Unit 4, Chapter 3, Lesson 1 on motivating others, which we also need to talk about motivating ourselves as part of that. We do have exercise 1 to take a look at. Let me pull that up here. Again, you have this in the lesson folder on your class page. So, just work through some of these. The various tactics and give an example of use in a leadership situation. Now, you guys are all at Forge. You've done this is your 4th year in leadership positions. So write about some of your experiences or where you've observed this in others. Motivational tactic where you utilize both rewards and corrective actions as needed to motivate the team and or individuals. Write about that. Establish short-term goals, set the example. A couple others here. Here's one that I've been working on since arriving here almost 2 years ago, is to create a healthy culture within the unit, one that promotes trust and respect as well as understanding and acceptance. One of my struggles coming here is that JROTC is supposed to be a broad representation of the entire school. There were and are some issues there with perceptions within the school, within I talked to some of my fellow faculty members, their ideas of what JROTC is or should be, or was, I guess I should say. It does not match with what I think that they should be based on cadet command guidance and overall picture. So we're trying to change some of that. But that also then conveys over to the students. And one of my biggest issues was when I started trying to bring in some broader population, other people into the program. There was pushback from cadets that pushed other folks out. We should have potentially everything from a couple life skill students all the way up to the valedictorian of the school. There's no reason not to have that. Athletes, cheerleaders, band members, members of the chess club, the bowling team, the folks that don't do any of that. The expectation, however, is that at least first-year students, that anybody can participate in JROTC, but after 1 year, the idea is that they make a commitment to the organization, which would require wearing the uniform, certain behavioral and appearance standards, hygiene standards, things like that really are, I think, are okay or good no matter what. We should have folks that are in tech, and that was not allowed previously. We should have, just a very broad range of people. Some will be leaders, some will not. Some are perfectly comfortable not being leaders, but at least understand the principles and understand the function and be part of something bigger than yourselves. That's what JROTC is all about. So how do you create that culture within the unit? That's something that we still have room to grow on. How do you create self-motivation and subordinates? We've had that discussion already a couple times. Staff meeting yesterday, we talked a little bit about it. So how do you do that? Where do we find that? Do you have that within yourself? What gets you excited? And again, use that. Understand people are motivated by different things. That's what the lesson yesterday talked about. So how do you help find that for others? And how do you find it for yourself? All right, let's get back to the lesson. So you're going to do exercise 1 on motivational leadership. Here's a good old question. Rewarding team members who support unit tasks by giving them ribbons, medals, and certificates is effective because doing so satisfies social needs and serves as a motivator. Again, we talked about public reward yesterday. If a leader must counsel subordinates for negative behaviors, when and where should that counseling take place? Right there, it is reward publicly and punish privately. It should take place as quickly as possible after an infraction, and it should take place in private to prevent public humiliation. We talked about that, where I've had, I don't know if it's any of you guys, but now I've had previous students say, hey, how come so-and-so isn't being dealt with for not making it to such practice or whatever event, or not doing this? Again, the whole reason they were asking this is they didn't see it. It had actually already taken place, but they were concerned because they had not seen it. All right. Another name for a power down approach to authority is what? And clearly, delegating. The thing is, when you delegate, you need to trust your subordinates. So if you've not communicated clearly, you need to let them know what your expectations are. Don't be upset if they don't do things exactly the way you would. Talk to them, ask them, hey, what did you do? How did the team do? What did you accomplish? Get some feedback, and then maybe talk about it. So if some reason they did not accomplish the goal you were expecting them to, let's address that. But again, do that privately, have that discussion, and focus on developing their leadership skills to enable them. And keep in mind, it may be your fault. Maybe you did not clearly communicate what was expected, or they had a different idea. And then, of course, their piece is if they don't understand fully, they need to ask questions. Okay. Think about how motivation relates to leading others. Again, when we talk about being a role model, being an example, if you're not motivated or you simply don't sound motivated, how's that going to come across to the others? How are they going to get motivated? So think about that in your speech, your actions. If you're hiding in a corner with your head on a desk, is that inspiring anybody? No. So get out there. There's some degree of leading from the front, but also, again, when you delegate, that's when you need to become the biggest cheerleader for the person that you've delegated to. When you say, hey, let 3, let 2, whoever, cadet so-and-so, hey, I need you to take charge of this mission. You need to be there supporting them, giving them some feedback maybe if that helps, but don't take over from them and don't take away their ability to make decisions. But again, be their biggest cheerleader. Say, hey, great job. Hey, have you thought about this? What else do you need? What can I provide to you? To help you out? Do you need more people? Do you need more whatever resources, things like that? Things that you can have an impact on as a leader to help others, help motivate them. Okay, we talked about the Army leadership model, attributes, competencies. Think about how that relates as far as motivation. You talk character. You have to be beyond reproach as far as that goes. Your values, empathy, your self-discipline. How can you correct someone else or even inspire folks to do better when your uniform doesn't fit or isn't clean, or you're wearing white socks with your ASUs? Presence, military and professional bearing, fitness, confidence, resilience. They're fairly selective on who they select as JROTC instructors. Part of why we're having an issue finding a replacement for Sergeant Brooks right now. There's an expectation you still maintain the aura and the presence of an active duty military leader. Think about what do you see? What do you expect to see? Intellect, mental agility, sound judgment. Do you demonstrate sound judgment? You don't have to be the smartest person in the room, but you do have to have good judgment skills and good communications. And sometimes it's better not to open your mouth, let other people talk, and then make a decision from that. How do you interact with others? Interpersonal tact. Do you, again, try to talk privately with somebody if there's something that might be embarrassing to them or you in public? How do you encourage their ideas and their open participation, or do you scream at them? And if you're screaming at people, is that, that tact is gone. Leads, develops, achieves as far as the competencies. You don't get into a position here in JROTC without growth over a period of years, over time. Continuous development, and understand that you're always going to have room to improve. Situations are going to change, organizations are going to change, so always focus on continuous improvement. It develops, prepares self. So what are you doing to prepare yourself? So maybe it's maybe for the cadet challenge, it's physical fitness. You need to work on that personally. Get out there and get going. Do those things that will help you, because if you're going to be leading the unit, you need to be getting maybe not the highest scores, but at least pretty decent score, and very clearly be showing that you're giving your best effort, putting your best foot forward. Developing others, meaning that you're taking the time to mentor others, because understand that this is high school, you're going to move on. You guys that are let fours now are going to graduate here in just a couple of months. So what are you doing to help pass the torch to the next group? Who do you want in leadership positions? Who do you think is capable? And what can you do to help develop them to improve their skills, step into those leadership positions? Some of it might be, what did others do for you? Or maybe it's, what did they not do for you that you think that needs to be passed on? So make a deliberate effort to do that, to develop others. How about achieves? And do you get results? That one's pretty straightforward. Okay, flow map, we're not going to do that one, but you could use this to show how do you guide a team towards achieving a goal, whatever that might be. So maybe think in terms of the Veterans Valley High project. How do we get folks motivated given certain contingencies or considerations, of course, which is weather and COVID-19, but how do we create the opportunity and create the motivation to finish off that project? Apply. What have you used as far as motivation tactics, and how might you improve their use? Like I said, when I first got here, rewards and punishments, there was definitely a very clear emphasis on the punishment side of things, the demerits, and not a whole lot of emphasis on the merits. And I think that should actually be the inverse. Much more focus on the positive, on the rewards, both intangible and tangible, but to develop that sense of cohesion, sense of belonging, as opposed to focusing on the punishment end. Sadly, it's easy to do punishments, but that's not what gets people excited. Doesn't want to. That's again part of why our numbers are low right now. What gives them a reason to be part of our organization? What are we doing? Okay, Tchart. You can do that on your own. Looking at two different motivational tactics you have not used well, how you've used each, and how you plan to improve at least one of them for future situations. So you can do that on your own. Get that turned in. It'd be great if you post it on the page so other people can see it. Again, we learn more from each other than by ourselves. Okay, performance test assessment task. Got a few questions here related to the vocabulary. So a compliment is what? Interesting. None of those are a really good answer, but I guess to complete. Complement something, to add to. So yeah, okay. So in some respect, I can see that. Intangible. This one is pretty straightforward. Okay, that which has a value not dependent upon physical makeup. A tangible reward would be a monetary award, a prize, something like that. Intangible is what you get within yourself for having accomplished the task. I think you guys have some very clear examples of that in your own lives. Okay. Essential question here at the end is, how will I motivate my teammates? That comes down to, that's the bottom line question. How do we motivate the Valley Viking Battalion? You guys are the senior leadership, the let fours. How do we motivate our folks given all the challenges? I get it. We have a ton of challenges that most past battalion leadership groups have never faced. But a lot of them are simply the same. It's just only a few conditions have changed. So think about that, maybe write down some answers, and then be ready to address that when we have our next discussion. Quiz will be posted tomorrow. I do need you to, let's figure out how we're going to do things with this hybrid schedule. I'm trying to put a schedule together right now. How to address the A group and B group, and then we really have a C group. We were the permanently online folks, so I'm trying to figure that piece out. So anyway, look forward to working with you. Good luck on the quiz, and I will talk to you soon.